Hello and welcome to this introduction video for World of Warships. This really is a basics of the basics video. And if you've already played this game, then don't bother watching this because it really goes into the basics of the game. We'll be putting out more videos on some of the basics, which might be more suitable for you. But if you are new to this game or you've only played a few battles and you feel like you're missing something, then this video might actually be something of use for you. Well, again, welcome to World of Warships. This is a very nice game. I'm really fond of it. I love playing it. It's also because ever since I was a little kid, I was always interested in these warships, and in this game there are numerous very famous warships, like here you can see the Bismarck, but there's also well, other ones like Missouri, which was the ship that the peace treaty in Japan was signed on. You can actually see the table here. They've modeled the table on which the Japanese admiral, I think it was, and the American representative signed the peace treaty ending the Second World War while this ship was in Tokyo Bay. And talking about Japanese ships, this was a very famous battleship in the Russian-Japanese War. Very, very long ago. And this, you can get that ship in game as well. There's the Iowa, there's very famous other ships like Scharnhorst, Tirpitz, Nelson, of course, its sister ship Rodney and Nelson were really powerful ships as well. Rodney was one that actually sank the Bismarck, but there's also the Hood that was sank by the Bismarck, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of big battleships, and also here also a lot of famous cruisers and destroyers and aircraft carriers. I really love this ship for that. There's a lot of history in it, and of course this isn't a game that is totally realistic, because there needs to be some balancing. I mean, if you put out a ship like the Musashi or the Yamato, the big Japanese battleships, and you don't balance them against any other ship, then any other ship would be totally useless against those, and that of course is not nice. So there is some balancing there, and there is some things that aren't really true. But let's start at the beginning. This is your harbor, and you can see some statistics of the ship. You can get it expanded like that, and you can see the hit points. There's an armor layout as well. I'll go into deeper detail at a later point. But there's a lot of things you can see about your ship here. There's also a commander, if you have a commander. Here, let's pick this one. A commander there that is linked to this ship. On premium ships, which have this yellow gold-ish thing, you can actually get every single captain of that country on without any penalty. And this is a regular tech tree ship, and you can just get the captain that is linked to that ship. If you use this captain for another non-premium ship, you will have to retrain the captain first, otherwise it can't use its skill completely. Then there's modules. You can see the different modules on this ship. You can see that I've researched the last hull. If I would purchase this hull, and this of course is the row in which you begin. So it starts with some less hit points, some less AA mounts, anti-aircraft mounts, and a little less maneuverability. So this is the best one, of course. Then there's a gunfire control system, which increases the main battery firing range. I've purchased that as well, and I'm still thinking about whether or not I'm going to get these guns, because this will change the way you play this ship. First of all, you go from 15 guns to 10. but the caliber is going to be a lot bigger. So when you hit something with armor-piercing shells, you will damage it a lot more. Let's look at the tech tree for a minute. There's, of course, you start at tier 1 with a very simple ship. Most of the time, the tier 1 ship is from around the 1930s or 1940s, because it's a very basic ship. It's not really in linked to a time period that is a logical build-up. If you go to tier 2, a lot of these ships are actually older than the tier 1, but from here on, most of the time there's a very logic build-up in time period. So if you go to tier 1, you can also see that this is a very simple ship with just 2 guns on the front, 2 guns on the back, and some AA defense. But it's not. You can see that the artillery rating isn't really high or anything like that. There's not a lot of gun systems or a lot of research you can do for this ship. But once you play a game, at the end of each game you get an oversight of what you have done. This is a battle I just played in my Bismarck. You can see I've earned a certain amount of credits, a certain amount of experience, a certain amount of free experience, and then here can be a lot of medals like this one, Confederate. And this is your battle performance. You can see that I've done 109,000 hit points of damage. I've hit 37 times with my main guns and 116 times with my secondary guns. Shot down 3 planes, incapacitated 6 different modules on enemy ships, sank 4 ships, set fire to enemy ships 11 times, had 1 hit to a citadel, and I assisted in capture 4 times. And these are this is the progress on some of the missions I've done. Team score, in which you can see how well you did compared to the rest of your team. Detailed report if you want more information on which ships you've damaged, and how you damaged them. You can see that here. And the last one is credits and experience, more detailed oversight. You can see that I have earned close to 300,000 credits, but I've spent some as well because I had to repair my ship, I had to service the ship, that actually is realistic, because every time a ship came back from a battle it had to be refueled. You had to put new ammunition in, and new meals for the crew, of course. So that is actually pretty logic. And then net profit was 192,000 credits. So you get experience. Experience you can use to unlock new ships. If you go to the tier 2, you can see that this really is an old ship. If you hover over this, you can see it's 1912. So this was before the First World War started, and there were 3 ships in the series. Not every ship you can sail in World of Warships has actually existed for real or in real life, but a lot of them have. And you can see that this ship is actually, though it's older than the tier 1, it's got more guns. 3 here on the front and 1 here at the back. And if you research this, you can actually get another 4 guns. So there's going to be 2 more guns here and 2 more guns here. This slowly but surely it will increase the amount of weapon systems on a ship, and the amount of versatility, the amount of things you can do with a ship are continuously increased. If you go to the tier 3 cruiser, you can actually reach this in just a few battles. Probably in less than 2 hours you'll have your first tier 3 ship. You can see it's got 2 guns here and 2 on the back, but it also have some torpedoes here, and torpedoes are totally different, of course, and that is, well, that's the way Japanese cruisers will stay for the rest of the game. They'll have torpedoes and guns. If you look at this ship, the tier 4, you can see that it's got more guns and more torpedoes. and that's just the way it is going to develop. There's also battleships, a lot slower, slower ships with better armor, so it's harder to damage these ships if you're firing at them. The main guns are slow firing, but really devastating guns. So if you get hit by these, it's not rare that you will lose your ship in just one salvo, or maybe two. If you're sailing a cruiser and you're going up against one of these beasts, very quickly your ship will be deleted. So, of course, there are ways to get around that. For instance, with a Japanese cruiser, you might be able to get close enough to fire some torpedoes and then run away, and your torpedoes will take this ship out. So, with a battleship, slow firing main guns, a lot of times it's about 30 seconds reload. Sometimes it's a little faster, sometimes it's even a little slower. And there's loads of secondary guns on this. The secondary guns have less of a firing range, so you can see here it's only 3 kilometers. Later that will become more. But if something gets inside of those 3 kilometers, it's going to be pummeled by a lot of your guns. Then if we look at a tier 4, that's going to be a different ship, of course. This ship is going to develop a lot, by the way. Then at tier 4 you can also switch to aircraft carriers. You can see that, well, aircraft carriers, especially at the start, is nothing more than just a landing strip on water, and you can play with these planes. And of course you can develop the planes as well and get better planes later on. Then the last class there is, let's get back to tier 2, is destroyers. Destroyers are the smallest ships in the game. A lot of times they have small caliber guns. The Germans have 152 caliber, 152 millimeter guns, so those are pretty big. They only have them on 2 ships at the moment and 1 premium ship. But these ships are the quickest ones, the most stealthy ones, and these are the stealthy ninja warriors. You can a lot of times you can get close enough to ships to fire your torpedoes without being spotted, especially with the later tiers, because this one can't do that yet. And that is really fun. You can do a lot of damage, but of course, because it's the smallest ship, it's really hard for the enemy ships to hit you. But once you are hit, well, your ship will be taken out easily. It's not hard at all to kill a ship like this. So staying hidden and making sure that once you're spotted you actually maneuver like crazy, that is the best way to play these ships. Then there are several countries, of course. There's Japan here, the Japanese destroyers, you can see here the Japanese cruisers, Japanese battleships, Japanese carriers, and some of the premium ships here. Then there's the United States of America. This is still a 7.4 video. In 7.5, the new patch, there's going to be a split here. So from tier 5 you can actually research 2 different tier 6 ships, and there will be a split between heavy cruisers and light cruisers. Every single country has its own play style. The Japanese destroyers, for instance, are really stealthy and have long range but slow reload torpedoes, which do a lot of damage. And what you do with these is, well, make sure you stay hidden and only fire your torpedoes when, well, from a very big distance, actually. The American destroyers are close-range knife fighters, and they have quicker firing guns that do more damage and actually rotate faster as well, so it's easier to just circle your enemy and keep on firing your guns. So that is really a big difference. The Russians are, well, they were described some time ago as American destroyers on steroids, because they have even bigger guns, and they're a lot quicker. The torpedoes only have a 4-kilometer range up to tier 4. Only from tier 7 you get longer range torpedoes. So these are different again. German destroyers have the quickest reload on the torpedoes, but they're not really long-range torpedoes, and their guns aren't awesome as well. But they are really versatile torpedoes. Versatile ships. And then there's the Pan-Asian destroyers as well, who have a very different playstyle again. So there's different countries, and make sure you once you start, it's probably best to start either with Japan or America, because those two are the easiest countries to start with. Though the French cruisers are nice as well, I have to say. But please don't start with British cruisers, because those are a little harder to play. And so are the Russian destroyers. They're a little harder to play as well. They're really fun if you get them to work, but they're a little hard to start with. Anyway, I think that is it for the basics of the basics. Just make sure that once you start, you won't be able to select a random battle here. So you will have a co-op battle. Find a ship that you like, find a line that you like, and just get to know the ship. Once you played a few battles in co-op, your level, you can see here, the level will increase. You'll start at level 1, of course, and slowly but surely it will go up. And once you reach level 3, you can play random battles. Random battles are battles against other human players. Co-op battles, you will have some human players with you in a team against bots. So the difficulty is a little less. There's other types of battles as well, but I'll talk about those later. Thanks for watching this. I hope you've enjoyed it and it was helpful. If you're looking for a clan to teach you some new tricks and to just have a nice group of people to play with, find 12-R, 12 Ronin. That's our clan, and apply for a spot here. I'm the commander at the moment, so I'll be able to get you in. We do have a TeamSpeak server, and we do play together as well. So if you want in, just let us know. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and feel free to watch my other basics videos. Bye.